code section addresses the means of disconnecting the service-neutral conductor, the service panel. Welding the service-neutral conductor to the bus establishes a permanent connection, making disconnection difficult. This acts as a safety measure to prevent accidental disconnection of the service-neutral conductor, which could lead to a hazardous scenario. The code allows welding other neutral conductors like branch circuit and feeder neutrals to the bus, but it is not mandatory. However, if these other neutral conductors are welded to the bus, the service-neutral conductor must also be welded to maintain a common neutral connection. The code doesn't mandate service panels to be manufactured with permanent neutral leads, but it allows for this design. If a service panel has permanent neutral leads, then welding the service-neutral conductor to the bus is necessary to create a permanent connection. A terminal or bus can only serve as a disconnecting means for the grounded service conductor if the other neutral conductors are not welded to the bus. This is because a terminal or bus permanently connected to other neutral conductors is not considered a true disconnecting means. In essence, this code section ensures a safe and reliable way to disconnect the service-neutral conductor at the service panel. By welding the service-neutral conductor to the bus, a permanent connection is established, preventing easy disconnection and mitigating potential hazards. The main purpose is to ensure safety by preventing unintentional disconnection of the service-neutral. Welding creates a permanent connection, making accidental removal difficult. The code recognizes that other neutral conductors, such as those from branch circuits and feeders, might be welded to the bus. If these are welded, then the service neutral also needs to be welded to ensure a consistent neutral connection. This prevents scenarios where some neutrals are easily disconnected while the service neutral is not. The code provides flexibility in how service panels are made. They don't have to have permanent neutral leads, but the code allows it. If permanent leads are present, welding is required to maintain the integrity of the neutral connection. The use of a terminal or bus as a disconnecting means is restricted. If other neutrals are welded to the bus, the terminal or bus can't act as the disconnecting means for the service neutral. This is because the connection is no longer easily disconnectable. The goal is to provide a clear and safe method for disconnecting the service neutral when needed. Welding makes the connection permanent and reduces the risk of accidental disconnection. The code prioritizes safety. Accidental disconnection of the service neutral can have severe consequences, so welding aims to prevent this. The allowance for welding other neutral conductors is coupled with the requirement to weld the service neutral if the others are welded. This is about maintaining a consistent and reliable neutral system. The code adapts to different manufacturing practices. It doesn't force permanent neutral leads but provides guidelines if they are used. The restriction on using a terminal or bus as a disconnecting means reinforces the idea that a true disconnecting means should be easily operable. The ultimate goal is a safe and reliable electrical system. The code achieves this by addressing the potential hazards associated with neutral disconnection. The code aims to prevent accidental disconnection of the service neutral conductor. This is achieved by allowing or requiring the welding of the neutral conductor to the bus bar, creating a permanent connection. Welding provides a robust, permanent connection, minimizing the risk of accidental disconnection due to vibration, loose connections, or unintentional tampering. The code recognizes that it may be desirable or necessary to weld other neutral conductors to the bus bar, such as those from branch circuits or feeders. However, to maintain a consistent and safe neutral system, the code mandates that if any other neutral conductors are welded to the bus bar, the service neutral conductor must also be welded. This ensures that all neutral connections are equally permanent and reliable. The code acknowledges that service panels can be manufactured in various ways. It does not mandate that service panels be built with permanent neutral leads that are intended to be welded to the bus bar. However, it allows for this type of construction, and if a service panel is designed with permanent neutral leads, the code requires that these leads be welded to the bus bar. The code places restrictions on the use of a terminal or bus as a disconnecting means for the grounded service conductor. Specifically, a terminal or bus cannot be used as a disconnecting means if other neutral conductors are welded to the bus bar. This is because the welded connections create a permanent bond, and the terminal or bus would not provide a readily accessible and reliable means of disconnection. The purpose of this code section is to provide a clear and consistent method for disconnecting the service neutral conductor at the service panel. The code prioritizes safety and reliability, aiming to minimize the risk of accidental disconnection and ensure a stable neutral connection. The core intention is preventing unintentional disconnection of the service neutral, which could lead to dangerous voltage imbalances and equipment damage. Welding, when employed, makes the connection permanent and robust. The code accommodates different wiring scenarios, including those where other neutral conductors are welded. If other neutrals are welded, the service neutral must also be welded to maintain consistency and prevent potential issues. The code does not force a particular manufacturing approach, but provides guidelines for various panel designs. Permanent neutral leads are allowed, but their use necessitates welding to ensure a reliable connection. The use of a terminal or bus as a disconnecting means is carefully regulated. Welded connections negate the ability of a terminal or bus to serve as a true disconnecting point. The goal is to provide a clear, safe, and reliable method for disconnecting the service neutral when needed. This involves considering different wiring configurations and panel designs while always prioritizing safety. Accidental disconnection can lead to serious electrical problems. Welding minimizes this risk, particularly in environments with vibration or other factors that could loosen connections. The code addresses situations where other neutral conductors are welded to the bus. In such cases, the service neutral must also be welded to ensure a uniform approach to neutral connections. This prevents scenarios where some neutrals are easily disconnected while the service neutral remains permanently connected, or vice versa. The code permits different service panel construction methods. It does not mandate permanent neutral leads but establishes rules if they are used. The restriction on using a terminal or bus as a disconnecting means reflects the desire for a readily accessible and reliable disconnecting point. Welded connections make a terminal or bus unsuitable for this purpose. The overall aim is to create a safe and dependable electrical system by focusing on potential hazards related to neutral disconnection. The requirements for welding the service neutral conductor and the restrictions on using a terminal or bus as a disconnecting means are all geared toward achieving this goal. The code provides a means of disconnecting the service neutral conductor, but not if the connection is made by welding. By welding the service neutral conductor to the bus, it establishes a permanent connection that is very difficult to disconnect. This serves as a safety precaution to prevent the service neutral conductor from being unintentionally disconnected, potentially leading to a dangerous situation. While the code permits the welding of other neutral conductors, such as branch circuit and feeder neutrals, to the bus, it's not a mandatory requirement. However, if these other neutral conductors are welded to the bus, the service neutral conductor must also be welded to ensure a consistent neutral connection. The code doesn't mandate that service panels be manufactured with permanent neutral leads, but it does allow for this type of design. If a service panel is constructed with permanent neutral leads, then the service neutral conductor must be welded to the bus to establish a permanent connection. The use of a terminal or bus as a disconnecting means for the grounded service conductor is only allowed if the other neutral conductors are not welded to the bus. This is because the terminal or bus would not be considered a legitimate disconnecting means if it's permanently connected to other neutral conductors. In summary, this section of the code aims to provide a safe and dependable means of disconnecting the service neutral conductor at the service panel. By welding the service neutral conductor to the bus, a permanent connection is created that's not easily disconnected, which helps prevent dangerous situations. The intent is to prevent accidental disconnection of the service neutral. Welding the connection ensures it's permanent and secure. While welding other neutral conductors is allowed, it triggers the requirement to also weld the service neutral for consistency. The code adapts to various manufacturing methods, allowing for permanent neutral leads, but requiring welding in that case. The restriction on using a terminal or bus as a disconnecting means reinforces the need for a readily accessible disconnection point. The overall goal is a safe and reliable electrical system with a focus on preventing hazards related to neutral disconnection.